Thanks so much for tuning in to this conversation with the management of Hinduja Global. As per the company presentation, fabulous backdrop to this set of numbers as well. No promoter pledges, net cash, strong net free cash flow, 60% of revenue from long tenure clients, and actually a pretty strong Q4 as well. Mr. Partha DeSarkar joins us right now to talk about this quarter, the year gone by, and what's the outlook ahead. Partha, so good having you. Thanks for joining in. I hope all is safe.
Yes, thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you, Neeraj.
Likewise. So let's start off with this quarter first, and maybe you can combine that with the backdrop for the year. But for the quarter, it was a very robust quarter. I mean, like-to-like basis, double-digit growth in revenue, EBITDA and PAT for FY21 as well. PAT highest ever for both Q4 as well as full year FY21. You would have been happy with the quarter and the year.
Yes, a lot of things to be happy about. In fact, I would say that this has probably been our strongest quarter ever. And it is driven by the fact that there is an amount of seasonality in our business. Okay, so our healthcare business has significant seasonality, but kicks in around November and goes on till about March. So that is one. And then there are a couple of other work that we did for the UK public sector, for the UK government. That also kicked in Q4. So those kicked in, let's say, December last week. So the entire effect of that came through in Q4. So the combination of those factors drove a really strong quarter. And, coupled with all of that, these are things that are not talked about that much, but I do want to mention it. In this quarter, we also got our employee satisfaction scores. They were the highest ever. We got our client satisfaction score. Those were the highest ever. And the results hopefully are making our shareholders happy as well. So we've got 3 connected dots, right? Happy employees, happy customers, happy shareholders. Now we need to focus on making sure that we can sustain this next year.
Yeah, what more can one ask for? So one question is this momentum that got built, and while you said that a lot of your business is seasonal, but there's a momentum that you built in November, which lasted probably for the Jan, Feb, March quarter. Has it spilled over into Q1 as well? Or are we likely to see, and then of course I'm going to focus on a few other points, but since we're talking about it, is it spilling over into Q1?
Look, the way this works is there is a sawtooth kind of a graph to our revenue. Okay, it builds over the year and goes up to Q4, and then there's a slight dip. And then again, the sawtooth starts, right? So that's the way it will work. And it has been, if you look at our track record, that's the way it has been. There are a few years where there has been some exceptions, where Q1 also been better than Q4. But general trend has been that Q1, there is a slight dip because of seasonality. But this Q1 could end up being a bit different based on some visibilities that I have today. So yeah, overall, I don't see any problems in maintaining the momentum that we have built, for sure.
Okay, just wondering. So therefore, you would compare your business on a YOY basis generally, or would you be comparing sequentially almost every quarter? Just
look, best is to compare it year on year.
Okay,
because that takes out the seasonality impact, right? And the seasonality impact is there, so therefore our Q4 tends to be the strongest. But the best way to look our business over the long term is to compare year on year.
Okay, but this Q1 would be different because last Q1 we were all in the grips of COVID. Now I'm just trying to understand. You would not have been probably impacted as much, but would you reckon that Q1, not just YOY but sequentially as well, could look much better than what a sequential growth in some of the previous years would have been?
Neeraj, let me correct you. Q1 last year we did get impacted by COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it took us 2 months to sort things out. I think we did one of the fastest deployment of work from home. And that was also, I would say that because we had about 1,000 people working in Canada from work from home. So we knew how to deploy it. What did it require, right? But to do that in India, to do that in Philippines, to do that in Jamaica, to do that in UK, where nobody had work from home, required a very different kind of an approach. And thankfully, because we had that experience in Canada, we were able to replicate the successes out here. Let's please understand, home infrastructure in India, Philippines, Jamaica is very different from home infrastructure in Canada and
UK.
US. UK is almost equivalent. So you have to deal with broadband issues, poor broadband, especially in the periphery of the cities that we operate in. You have to deal with power issues, frequent power outages. So we had to ship UPSs as well. It was not just not dongles. We were shipping UPSs to people's homes just to make sure that there is continuity of power available. So yes, Q1 last year was impacted, but by June, we had picked up speed, and rest of the year we have operated in a bubble. So it's been, I think the numbers truly reflect that, the fact that we were able to operate in a bubble, and we've been able to keep our employees safe and still deliver results. And that's also one of the reasons why our employee satisfaction scores have been the highest ever in the 10 years history that we've had.
No, but hence, which is why I said that, because you would have been impacted in Q1 last year. I don't want to compare Q1 this year with Q1 of last year for a change. I would rather look at Q1 versus Q4. And you would believe that that number would be different than what it has been in the past few years, not last year, but even the other years sequentially would be better.
Sequentially will be better.
Okay, got it. Okay, just by the way, off the cuff, you wonder that your business as well could largely be work from home or work from anywhere, as opposed to work from office, which used to be the norm pre-COVID?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I will tell you that work from anywhere is going to be the future of work.
Perfect. Okay.
And so long as we are able to sort the data confidentiality and data security issues when people work from home, if you're able to sort that out, it is the most logical thing to do. Okay. People don't have to migrate to city looking for work. If the broadband infrastructure in Indian cities, Philippine cities, and Jamaican cities are good, if there is power stability, people can work from home. Just look at the savings our employees will have. They will stay in their own houses, eat home food, and work, right? It's the logic is fantastic. The second part is, when you do work from home, you're also actually being able to leverage the cloud, because your telephony now moves to the cloud. Everything moves to the cloud. So now you have a consumption-based model, which allows you to expand and contract based on demand, right? Because that's the freedom that the cloud gives you. You don't have a brick and mortar limitation saying that I have 1,000 seats, I can only do 1,000 seats work of work. Now, if I get 2,000 seats, then I won't be able to take on that work because it will take me 3 months to add the 2,000 seats.
Got it.
Now you look at boxes. You're stuck with on-prem boxes, right? If you now suddenly have 1,000 licenses more, you have to add 2 huge boxes again. Now the cloud frees you up from all of that. So those are the things that are actually determining how work from anywhere, because you can just ramp up. I mean, the potential is endless.
Got it.
You can possibly hire 10,000 people all over the country, right? And you're not constricted to brick and mortar. It's a very, very strong operating model.
Well, you are speaking about that, right? In your press release, you said that you're investing in aggressive growth in FY22. Can you give us some color about this? Any targets that you're laying out, which are open for public domain, of course? Can you talk a bit about this?
See, there's one constraint that I have. We don't give future guidance. Okay, but we know that there is enough pent-up demand inside the system for us to be able to reasonably confident about continuing the momentum that we've had last year. And while Western economies are now opening up in a sense that people can get back to work, vaccinations are good, but clients have seen the importance of giving the employees the flexibility of working from home. So our attrition is actually lower. And attrition is a fairly big cost in this industry. You give the people the flexibility to work when they want, from where they want, attrition numbers improve. And that's a huge cost to the business. That's a huge cost to quality, because there's always a learning curve when you have to hire somebody to replace somebody who's attrited. So there are a lot of benefits out there as well.
Okay, but aggressive growth means that the growth numbers could, without getting into a formal guidance, they could look as impressive or better than FY21.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a couple of internal questions. Since you acquired Element, uh, and I look at the numbers, at least for last year, the non-voice revenues seem to have grown at a very fast clip as well.
Yes.
How do you see that shaping up for FY22 and beyond?
Yeah, I think that will also continue its fast pace of growth. Uh, a lot of today, the new age companies, the digital natives as opposed to digital immigrants, have taken to non-voice being the primary channel of interaction with their clients. Many of the top names that you say, you are not able to call them to get an answer to them. It's easier to chat to them. Chat is becoming a fairly important part of those new age companies. Not so for healthcare companies. There is still a fair amount of conservatism. Not so for financial services companies. But the new age IT companies, they are digital natives, and they are driving the non-voice interactions significantly. So I do think that's going to be a trend going forward as well.
Okay, a bit of conversation on the UK, some color on UK, because that market, albeit a lower base compared to US, but has grown quite significantly. I think 60% growth FY21. Do you expect that to continue? I mean, did it kind of happen in the last 4 or 5 months? And do you expect that to continue? Part one of my question is that.
Yeah, UK actually has been the best story for this year. Healthcare always has been our poster boy, if I may use the word, right? UK has been a very strong story this year. And that's driven primarily by a large number of public sector wins that we've had on several factors. And so, yeah, I think UK will build on its momentum. UK will do even better this year based on the initial estimates that I have on April and May. They're doing really, really well. So that UK has been a complete turnaround story for us.
Awesome. Well, needless to say, your strongest or the largest suit currently has probably the best tailwinds across the world, which is the healthcare space. Can you tell us how multi-year is this momentum looking, and how strong on an annual basis do you believe this can be? I mean, did FY21 open up newer healthcare clients / geographies / avenues, some which you may not have even anticipated? How do you see the tailwinds? How strong are these for FY22 and beyond?
Look, healthcare has always been our growth engine, okay? And that momentum will continue. One of the things that COVID threw at us is a completely different, perspective, whether you're an insurer or whether you're a provider. And let me explain that to you. Everybody deferred discretionary healthcare. So things that you could defer, procedures that you could defer, because they didn't want to go to the hospital because of risk of infection. As a result of that, look at what the impact of that is. The hospital cash flows have been impacted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are major surgeries and procedures and all of that people have actually stayed away from. Okay, so the hospital cash flows have actually been impacted. But look at it from an insurer's perspective. On the flip side of that is the hospital expenses go down. So costs go down because, because you're not having to reimburse people for the medical costs. So last year and even continuing this year, I think has been a big boon for the insurance companies. So if you look at it, the care provider is actually strapped for cash because there's no cash coming in because people are not getting into hospitals. They're trying to avoid hospitals to the extent that they can. Plus there is cost of COVID care, which is, not necessarily very, very remunerative, if I'm going to use that word. I mean, it's not the right word to use, but, that is the truth. Whereas insurers are sitting on a pile of cash today because the claim ratios have gone down significantly. So yeah, that has been the only exception in healthcare. But other than that, it's been business as usual. And we've always grown well, and we will continue to grow well in healthcare.
Okay. My final question, and I don't know if you're in a position to be able to talk about it, but the street is rife with rumors of you looking to take some corporate action, either by way of demerging the healthcare business or hiving it off, selling it to somebody, or some bit of other corporate activity. Is there anything on the anvil, or are these just plain rumors?
Neeraj, unfortunately, I will not be able to comment on market rumors, and you know
Okay.
that, right? So
Yeah.
that question I can't really.
No problem. No problem. But great. This was lovely talking to you, Partho. I mean,
Thank you,
fabulous
Neeraj.
quarter, fabulous year.
Thank
And
you.
I hope at the end of Q1, we have an even more solid tale to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Really
Pleasure
looking
is
forward.
ours.
Yep.
Likewise, pleasure is ours. Thanks for talking today.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Viewers, thanks for tuning into this conversation.